Hello and welcome to the UnCapt Gaming post Summer Game Fest show. Your one-stop shop to unprofessional opinions about video games. On this week's episode, that could have been 20 minutes of just trailers, but I had to listen to so many devs talking. It's the Summer Games Fest. I'm Dale, and as ever, I'm joined by the beautiful Lloyd and the gorgeous Phil. How are we? How did we feel about
that? It was okay.
Like, mixed bag.
Yeah,
is probably the most generous way of putting it.
Yeah, I think as someone there was a couple of games that I've kind of known about for a while, and I'm kind of glad I got a release date out of it. But and then there was a couple of new ones that I'm excited for, maybe. But I think they're gonna. I don't know whether and I never tend to get overly excited about I love seeing indie games getting thing, but I never kind of go, I'm gonna love that straight away. So I'm kind of, I don't know. The trailers were weird.
Yeah, a lot of them trailers felt like underwhelming. I want to say whether they not if there was something that hooked you about the game, it wasn't in that some of them trailers.
Yeah, it kind of felt like they weren't showing off the game, they were showing the premise around the game. And then there wasn't enough in that premise that caught my eye, if that makes sense.
Yeah, we got you.
So I don't know how because I don't want to be it was a bad thing just of what I've saw, because there could be some good games in there. So
that's fair. That's fair. What about you, Phil?
Yeah, I think I can count on one hand the number of games that interested me. I mean, again, like Lloyd, you want to kind of be fair. There's probably all of those games that I was not interested in the slightest will have their fan bases somewhere, and there'll be people who are into that sort of stuff. Who are probably sitting there jumping up and down for joy or whatever. But I was just kind of I think that especially after the PlayStation State of Play, which last week, which was kind of opened and closed on really big games, that one of them was obviously something I've been looking forward to. The other one isn't really my cup of tea, but you know that they're big. There's a thing around them, and then in the middle there's feels like there's something for everyone, and it all happens quite quick. Whereas this felt dragged out, and
I think for me that was a big part of it, because it sucked the energy out of me, being honest. I very much felt, and I love hearing devs talk, and I love reading about it, but there was no tempo to it. It just and I felt the exact same thing at the Gaming Awards. It's just there's no let's just keep this going, let's keep this hype. It's like a hype train, isn't it? You need to be, otherwise you're just okay, but it's nothing. And then there was nothing to make me go, oh my god, this is the greatest thing ever. So there was just no
pattern. They're filling it out for the sponsor. I don't know whether it affects their ad revenue or sponsorships or something, if they've padded it out to an hour and a half instead of half an hour. But
it was very underwhelming. From I think everything they kind of announced, it was very. That's my end of it. There was the only thing that really excited me there was I think Goat Simulator 3 because it was really funny, and it was the only thing that actually got me chuckling. Other than that, the Callisto Protocol, I'm excited about. Kind of Modern Warfare 2 was campaign, so I don't care. I kind of just want multiplayer reveal stuff. It was very, very lackluster, and I think it kind of speaks to how I feel the game industry's been over the past 2 years, maybe. There's only been one or two standout things, and I think this kind of showcased that it's a bit very underwhelming. But no, we've gone off the beaten path. Let's bring it back to UnCapt. Video games, they're exciting, right? Yeah. What have we been playing? We'll go with, I don't know who started last time. We'll go with Phil first. Phil, what have you been playing this week?
So this week I've started So Horizon Forbidden West have added a new game plus and an ultra hard difficulty. So I have gone straight into them because, well, because it's quite good. I'm enjoying it. I'm interested that I've not died so far in ultra hard difficulty, where I definitely died before playing it up to this point in normal at least a couple of times.
Means you've got good.
Yeah. So that's it. But it's the other important thing, aside from the fact that it's a good game, is that my lovely little 100% dipped down to 96 because of 3 trophies.
Oh, that's
and so I need to fix it. I need to get it back. So that's been kind of the thing on that. I'm trying to think if I've played anything else this week. I don't think I have. I think that was the only one. Other than replaying some of Last of Us Part 2, because I'd done a full playthrough of it, which I needed the footage of for the big video I'm doing for its 2-year anniversary on the 19th. Hint, hint. Subscribe to my channel. But one of them didn't record properly, so I had to replay that area. So, but that's no great sacrifice on my. I put 300 hours into that game, so I'm gonna put another 300 in before the next couple of months is out, I'm sure.
Fair. And to anyone listening, you really should actually both of their YouTube channels. Should try and remember to put it in any of the links because they're both doing incredible work, like actually incredible stuff.
And
that leads from one great YouTuber to the next. Lloyd, what are we saying? What have we been playing? Anything?
So I said I was going to play Silk. I have, and it's fucking. It's so good. Oh mate, I haven't played a game in a while that has given me goosebumps from the first moment, and this has done it. Like everything, the music's brilliant. The like the atmosphere, it's just like it's fantastic. And like I touched like the edge, and do you know when like you touch something that you don't quite want to touch, and you kind of go and it shiver down your spine. It did that to me because it just looks. It looks so like it looks quite natural and stuff. So it's just like it's like oh I know I don't want to touch that, but it was just mate, it's such a good experience, and like I've got a just atmosphere. Like even the gameplay is quite fun, where you kind of got to figure out which fishes you got to possess, and then it's like you got to possess, and then you got to possess divers, and you collect the divers in some weird sort of thing, and it's just like. It like from 1 minute it's like you're in this like really cool sort of like underwater scene, and then the next minute you're in this like drowned library, and it's just so much like drowned library library that is underwater. That sounds.
We knew.
I quickly drowned as well. I mean,
can you drown a library?
Yes,
but yeah, it's just kind of like it's like there's just so much mystery, and like you never know what's right. Oh man, it's just beautiful and. Yeah, I've sung his praises all year, and it's just not let me down, man. Sick.
I'm happy. I'm happy because I remember because we were talking. This might be throwing you under the bus a little bit, but you were saying that you played like 10 minutes of it, and you just didn't have the attention span at first. Because I think we were having a conversation.
Yeah, I think that's more me than the game.
Yeah,
like,
I just thought it'd be interesting to brush upon.
Yeah, I delved into it again, and like I've loved every minute of it, and because like it wasn't that it was just my energy levels were just like I can't play anymore. We were kind of talking about it.
Yeah, we were talking about like our attention span with games lately, and it's not really been there. And I remember you mentioning that to me, but I could tell we were both exhausted that day, and I just wanted to make sure.
Oh no,
exhaustion's been a recurring theme in the last few months, I think.
Yeah, I think like you can still enjoy a game and be like, I just can't play this anymore. Like, there's nothing wrong. Yeah,
no. I was more interested about what like pulled you back, because if you put it down. A lot of the times, if I put a game down, I'm not really going to go back to it. You know
I think it's something I've wanted to play for a while, and it was like, it was kind of like when I put it down, I was like, I want to play more. But do you remember, like as a kid, you wouldn't be able to sleep until
think about it constantly.
Like I just went to bed and crashed out, and it's nothing. Like I said, it's nothing to do with the game. Like I could have played anything that day.
It's just old age.
I think
anyone here. Yeah. Anyone that's listening and I don't know, you're younger, enjoy gaming, man. Because when you're older, it's like, do I game or do I just sleep? And most of the time, you just want to sleep.
Can I just refer back to when we were out the other night and we were talking about this and talking about the fact that you're going like, oh, feeling so old, and you're both still in your 20s. Stop
old, Phil. That's old.
Old.
What do you mean?
Yeah.
There
I
are
pulled
people
my
born
car
in the year
by
2000. They're like, he did. I saw him walking on that.
That's nothing. I put my back out by not throwing up when I was dry heaving. Then I've like there's the injuries down there. So
terrible.
Terrible. I may have had a few drinks on the particular night in question we were talking about. Listeners. Not usual for me. I'm obviously a model of sobriety and restraint, but
but going on other news, Wales have made the World Cup. Everyone,
they have.
Yeah, we've made the World Cup. First time in 58 years or something like that. Oh, it's just such a good moment.
I thought it was like 60 years, wasn't it?
It's something like that.
It 60, it's a while. I might be wrong, but I know that's good news.
But it was.
Cardiff are still like the favourites for Bale, right, or something, and it's a good time to be.
I'm not going to go into the football chat here.
Let's go
because I'll get this. There's so much going on.
Isn't it? It's Dale's turn now. What have you been playing?
What have I been playing? It's been. Do you know? It's my fifth week in my new job. So I'm things are still settling down a bit. So gaming for me, I've played a little bit of Monster Hunter. Got all my bow builds ready for the new game. I think I'm gonna go with a bow build playthrough. I love bow. Bow's really fun. Other than that, I did actually play a bit of Apex. Got a few wins on Apex. Apex and surprisingly, a lot of Call of Duty Mobile I've been playing, which really hurts my hand to play.
Is that when you're dossing around the office?
No, it's more back and forth on the bus to work.
Obviously,
you know?
I'm joking. I'm sure you're an exemplary employee.
I'm an amazing employee. I'm amazing. Imagine having me working for you. Nah, that's about. I've not really gained too much. I read my first manga this week. Kind of, the geeky thing. I read the first My Hero Academia and absolutely loved it. And that's about it. Studio Ghibli film week and Stranger Things. It's been a strange week for me, to be fair. Very strange week, but not so much gaming, more catching up on things I need to catch up on.
No, that's fair. But there seems to be more coming out in the realm of television and stuff as well.
I mean, Obi-Wan I need to catch up on, definitely. I haven't watched that yet because I've been watching Stranger Things Series 4 and it's so good.
I'm actually really enjoying it. I've watched 2 episodes, Stranger Things.
It's really good, isn't it?
I'm thoroughly enjoying it, man.
This is not a gaming podcast no more. This is Stranger Things podcast.
Yeah, I need to wake up the will to watch season 4. I think it's been so long, and I was kind of like
so good.
I kind of drifted in and out of season 3 of it. I just I watched it, and I remember it being like good, but I don't remember any details.
They do a good breakdown at the beginning of that series. To be fair, if I remember, they do a good little thing breakdown of everything. But Stranger Things 2, watch it. It's good. Lloyd's laughing at something and I want to know.
Sorry, I got Twitter in the corner of my eye and I just saw Xbox being sassy. That's all.
What did they say?
I think so. They said about the controller thing. Someone's posted because they've announced there's more colours or something in their customizable controller, and someone's asked. No one asked for this. Xbox replied, and no one asked for you to reply. But here we are. Big up Xbox, my boys.
Big up. I want to think that was Phil getting drunk watching the Summer Games Fest, just chirping up on Twitter.
If any gaming companies need to pay someone to do social media full time, I can be sassy on the internet. Come on.
No. If you want someone to run your socials and be sassy, let Lloyd do it. Damn, I reckon Lloyd could be proper. And the best thing is, I reckon he could be. I reckon he could be proper like corporate sassy, if that makes sense. I reckon he could do that well
without swearing.
Yeah.
I remember I had a job. Sorry, I'm gonna say this now. I had a job interview with the police for their social media internship, and they were basically like, "What would you do if someone's like not being nice?" Because obviously it's the police, and I was just like. I just completely panicked in my head because I was just like, normally I would be a sassy little bitch, but I can't do that as the police.
You're under arrest. Damn. Nice. They missed out on a treat there. Do you know what I mean? But I think I'm looking through the list, and you know. How many games were announced? There's a good. I'd imagine there's a good like.
I think it was
15,
around
20 games, and out of them, there's about 2 that are worth noting. So I think the best way to maybe go through this is speak about the ones that most interested us, because there was a lot of fluff in there, right? There's a lot of things that. I mean, I personally don't care about. You guys might, so. Maybe it's worth going around and leaving Phil till last because we know what he's going to speak about. Let's be fair.
Why are you saying unpredictable?
Well, I mean, there's the pun of you being last and it being
Resident
the last
Evil
game.
and Last of Us content for like a whole
week. Oh, damn. But, yeah, Lloyd, I'll give it to you first. What... Is there anything in there that screamed out to you?
Getting a release date for Midnight Fight Express was cool.
Yeah,
like that
what was the date?
23rd of August, I believe.
Oh, not so far away.
Not so far, man. But that's definitely going in like any of my games to look out for the month, like because it just looks so good. I get not quite my Pedro vibes, but like the atmosphere is very much like that. Where I feel like there's going to be a bit of humor.
I get it,
and like it looks like it's just going to be a load of fun, and it's kind of got that like chaotic Miami Hotline Miami sort of thing, and it's just like it's just I don't know, man. It looks so good, and I've just been
I get it. It looks like the kind of game that if you kind of mess up or lose yourself a second, all hell's just going to break loose,
yeah.
And you're just going to be constantly fighting to get it back into your kind of control.
Oh, mate, yeah, that's going to be that. It's going to be so good.
That was made by one guy as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, one guy.
That's just like incredible, like because that does genuinely look like loads of fun.
But yeah, loads of like other indie people have been screaming about it as well. So it's like it's going to be. I feel like this is going to be a game. And then I was quite gutted, but understandably, Replaced didn't get shown any. That's another game I've been super excited for, but obviously they've had to push the game back to 23 because of the events in Ukraine. So it's completely understandable when nothing was shown. But again, like it's going to be a fantastic game. That's like a cyberpunk side scroller sort of thing, and the combat. Oh, the combat! I hope it. Yeah, like you see like one person like flip over the other, and it's like it's just gonna be. I feel like it's gonna be great, man. High Water looked okay. I think it definitely sort of added some diversity in there, that like isometric sort of thing. I don't know whether I'd say is it. Yeah, High Water was the almost like strategy one. It felt like that one looks okay.
Like strategy, survival, or something.
Yeah.
It's not a mix of it.
Yeah. American Academy. I'm just gonna list off the indie games here because, like, I know I'll get them out of the way, so we can kind of talk about AAA stuff because I know that's what you two are into a bit more. American Academia looked there. I'm kind of excited. I don't know. I'm gonna have to look more into that one, I think. But yeah, then you got Protocol. The Callisto Protocol, which looks like I'm a sucker for some survival horror in space. So yeah, I'm excited for that.
Space horror.
You said I'm a sucker for survival horrors, and I saw Phil look into the camera. It's like his MO.
I love it,
No,
like that sort of like space thing.
The more people who are into it, the better. I think it just means
Yeah,
more
like-
games.
not to interrupt you in your game breakdown. If you just put a pin there, do you want to speak about the Callisto project a little bit, because I'm really excited for it. It looks really good, but I do have a worry that it's just gonna be Dead Space, because it looks so much like Dead Space in so many ways that I'm just like.
See, the thing there is an actual remake of Dead Space coming up. It's in development at the moment. I don't think it's got a release date as of yet. But it is in development, so that'll be interesting to see how different the two are, I suppose, side by side.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be interesting to see the difference between Dead Space and the actual remake of the game, if it's actually a remake, unlike other games, which we'll get into a bit later.
I'm just hold on, because I've not actually played Dead Space. Again, this is another one that I should have, but
there's a lot. I think I don't know whether it's just one guy or a team, but I know they work on Dead Space as well.
Yeah, I think they've got quite a few of the team. Right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, but I get the vibe that this is going to be like Outer Worlds was to New Vegas.
But like,
there's going to be
it could have been.
Yeah.
I get that. Now you've said that,
I get that. So because like I can imagine this Dead Space remake being absolutely quality. Like I think it's just gonna. Like, but I just feel they're kind of going to be on par, and I think, like, a lot of people will kind of go, "Oh, it's just Dead Space," but I think it's going to have that.
No, that's fair. I get that. Yeah.
Is it play different? Because I think again, I've got in my head like Dead Space is sort of obviously a shooter. Yeah, he used guns and stuff, but like I don't remember it particularly being something with melee combat in. Whereas
it had melee, right?
In the same sort of like with dodging and like whacking thing, like just on what we saw on the gameplay on the Summer Game Fest there, like it just because originally like, it looks that there's a kind of Resident Evil 2 remake vibe to it, like where the camera's quite close to the player and obviously you move quite slow and deliberate, but then unlike that you can move out the way of stuff rather than having to like run away. You can actually dodge in close quarters and do close quarter combat, which is not really always something survival horrors do.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to add new things to it, right? I'd imagine if they've come from making Dead Space, they're going to be like, well, this is the stuff we kind of had to cut. This is the stuff we were told wouldn't work, but we thought it would, so they're going to do that. You know what I mean? Yeah, so I'm very excited for it. I'm not going to lie, it's probably the one thing on there that I'm the most excited for. And that's very strange for me to say because it's a survival horror, and I'm not really known for my horrors or survivals. You know what I mean?
But is it if it's because I can't remember if they said it was the original part of the original team that did the original Dead Space, but it would be interesting because what happened very much with like Outer Worlds and stuff was that Obsidian had this idea of where they wanted New Vegas to go and how they, because obviously it was still technically a Bethesda had input in it. They were like, no, we wanted to kind of fit in with Fallout 3.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like when they did Outer Worlds, then they had all this freedom now to do whatever they wanted, and that's kind of why it was done so well. Effectively, was because it didn't have that thing.
Didn't have
So it'd be interesting to see how many games Dead Spaces they actually worked on.
Yeah, I suppose so. Do you know what? I should know this because I just read. I've almost finished Jason Schreier's book, press set release, and it talks about the development and stuff of Dead Space and how it went to different games and stuff like that. So I should know this, but I've just gone completely blank. But no, I see what you mean. Like I do like your comparison of the game, Outer Worlds, compared to Fallout New Vegas. I kind of agree where I think that's where it's going to be. It does look like it's even the way he was actually speaking about it, it's a passion project. You know what I mean? And you can tell with those types of games, you're going to get something good, right? Regardless, you're going to get something decent. But Yeah,
I think that's the game I'm most excited for.
yeah, same. I think it's probably the one out of the lot that I'm quite excited about. I'd imagine that's one of your big ones, Phil, as well.
I was just looking through to kind of refresh myself because there was a couple of space horrors.
Couple.
Apple. It was
year.
it was the Space Horror Festival. What do you mean?
Because we also Fort Solace was the other. I think that was the first
that looks
person one.
interesting.
Which did look, and then I don't know whether it's space specifically, but it's with robots, like Routine. The
yes,
one, like,
sorry, no, that one looks interesting. The other one just looks like they looked at Callisto Project and was like, "We'll make the same game around the same time." You know what I mean? What?
So like
they haven't, but I was, you know.
So like in terms of ones that, like, I suppose new IP things, they're probably the three things that stand out.
Yeah, I love the enemy design and Routine. Love it.
Yeah,
that
robot
sort
of
do you know?
Whole face opens.
Do you know what it? Yeah, do you know what it reminded me of?
Five Nights at Freddy.
Five Nights, yeah. And I was like, oh, here we go.
Instantly.
Use the next me and Lloyd, who was the bite of 57.
but no, even like they just look very like animatronic-y rather than robot-y. If that makes sense.
And
me and my professional terms.
I might be like I might be mixing this up a little bit, but the beginning kind of had, because I initially in the beginning thought, whoa, this kind of reminds me of Control with the whole.
Because it was like VHS tapey.
Yeah, and the setting. So I'm kind of hoping this very what is that kind of horror? It's like they're all
Control was basically a third person shooter, wasn't it?
Yeah, but what's that? Yeah, but what's that setting like? Are they like they're not cryptoids, are they? They're like, it's like the duck you can't take your eyes off of, or the fridge you can't take your eyes off unless it'll murder you. It's like those like very urban or like
like the Weeping Angels from Doctor Who.
Kind of, yeah. I'm really struggling to find the type of thing it is. I'll find it now. I'll find.
I think I know what you mean. Where it's like it's kind of paranormal,
paranormal, but like more psychedelic. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I kind of know what you mean. I mean, it'll be interesting to see more of it. Again, it's a shame that we're kind of past the age of demo discs to be able to like get some of these things and play and like the little thing, because that be like, I think this would be if Summer Game Fest wants to like do something that sets it apart so that everyone doesn't just say to like Jeff Keighley, this is directly at you, listen, right? Release a Summer Game Fest demo disc and everyone will stop saying it's a shit EGX.
Or just make it 20 minutes like it should be and not waste all of our time. Like, jeez, man. But it's SCP. It's the like government lockdown of paranormal things.
I know what you mean now.
Not cryptoids.
Yeah.
And I adored that. And when I saw that, I was like, oh, this is giving me that kind of vibe. So I'm hoping that's what we're seeing. Because there's that weird thing like on a rope bouncing or like shaking around weirdly and that. And I'm hoping it's kind of like that, because I'll play the hell out of that if that's what we're saying.
Yeah.
But was there anything else for you, Lloyd? Was there anything else that kind of tickled your pickle, should I say, you know?
Tickle your pickle?
Is it Layers of Fear? The one called Layers of Fear?
Oh, the Bloober Team one?
Layers
of Fears. It's a sequel.
That looks okay.
It's just the whole... Yeah.
Was Layers of Fear any good? Because obviously it's a sequel to it, so that's a roaring endorsement there.
I mean, I tried it, but it was back when I wouldn't actually play horrors. Like, I try for a second, then thing, until I started streaming them, and people were like, you gotta finish this now, and I'm like, oh shit. But I don't know, it was okay. I guess it was good enough to get a sequel, but then, you know, the very bad games that get sequels.
It says here that it's a remaster and a sequel that will build on the foundations of the original Layers of Fear Inheritance, and Layers of Fear 2. So whatever that means, it's like, I don't know, a remake, a remaster,
knows.
and a sequel. Yeah, don't know what that means, but that's what
Crazy.
they're saying anyway.
Crazy. Is there anything else, Lloyd, that piqued your interest?
I've just got to give Marvel's Midnight Suns. I was going to say Ghost Simulator 3,
yeah.
but I was actually incredibly impressed with the character design of that.
Yeah, the Hulk.
Yeah, the demonic
That
Hulk.
looked cool. Really cool.
I don't know how it's going to play. I feel like it's going to be top
There
down.
are gameplay trailers. When I was on Twitter, I saw a couple of people that like YouTube content creators that were like, boss fight gameplay and stuff. So there is gameplay.
Yeah, I'm just looking.
We'll have to look more into that,
There's like an IGN preview thing. It's very much in the style of XCOM.
Oh, so a strategy then?
Yeah, it looks like.
I mean,
could work.
Like the screenshot I'm looking at, it's got like a thing to like choose
There's,
which
like,
point to move it
cards
to,
and
and there's
stuff.
cards. Yeah.
yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay.
Might be interesting. I guess it's more board gamey than
Yeah, I'll have a look. I like Marvel, but I always squirm a
you.
bit when I see Marvel in a game. It's,
Because it could be Spider-Man. On the other hand, it could be the Avengers. although shout out on the Spider-Man front, because that's coming to PC, which means
It is.
PC gamers get to experience it as well.
Get to
including Mr.
mod
Lloyd.
the hell out of it. Can you
Yeah.
imagine the mods? PlayStation, man, just release your games. Stop being so only on PlayStation. Shut up and just release it for people to play, man.
Well, hopefully,
Damn.
I think they're doing this. They seem to be doing it more because obviously they got success with God of War. They got success with Horizon Zero Dawn. They'll probably get quite a lot of success with Spider-Man. The Last of Us remake is also coming to PC, so that's like the first one. So I think they're starting to move more into that with the big stuff. Hopefully. Yeah,
fingers crossed.
I am always a proponent of more people getting the chance to play games, especially if the games I like. Like, play this thing.
Yeah, no, sick. Sorry, was that everything? I know you said you want the special shout out to Goat Simulator for actually being the only interesting thing at the entire.
No. I have to say they have the art of trailer making down to each.
Oh, it's so good because it was just memeing Dead Rising 2 on it, and it it was so perfectly done. Because even that was like, it's Dead Rising 2. Oh my lords! Oh my god! Oh my! I was like, they downplayed the graphics a bit. They've gone for a funky art style, and then you just see a goat fly out of nowhere, and butt some guy off the thing, and yeah, no, it looks good, man.
You know when we were watching it and we were saying, I didn't remember there was a Goat Simulator 2. There wasn't. They've just made Goat Simulator 3.
That's great. That's so good.
Oh, that's such a Goat Simulator thing to do.
Yeah, goddamn Goat Simulator. Damn it. Yeah, no, that's good. Big shout out to them.
Do you know what they did that? The SEO guy was like, right, what do we do? What do we do? Jesus, let's not call it 2, let's call it 3, so people search us up.
No, that's great. That's amazing. Fair play to them, because there's got loads of people talking about it. You know what I mean? It's not just, they've announced the Goat Simulator. Cool. It's like, wait. Why is it 3?
Goat Simulator is undoubtedly one of those games which I played for 5 minutes and laughed my arse off, and then it's kind of sat in my back catalogue ever since.
Yeah.
But they know how to market stuff.
Yeah. No.
Brilliantly done.
No, that's
absolutely brilliant.
That's thing. I think Phil, if you're okay, I'll go next, because I kind of only have one thing to talk about, because it was a dead showcase, completely dead. Callisto Project, like I said, is something that I'm really excited for. A couple of the other horrors look pretty good, but the Modern Warfare 2 reveal game looks beautiful. I mean, they kind of always do CODs, don't they? They always look incredible. Very slow paced. It didn't really show us much, to be fair, because I'm only interested in the multiplayer sides. Like, cool, Ghost is in, the characters are back, and it's like a reimagining. It's an actual remake. It's just, I just want multiplayer stuff, and we'll get the big multiplayer event where they'll have like content creators versus the pros and all this stuff, and I'm excited for that.
Does Call of Duty have their own thing? Surely they would have not. Or do they anymore? I don't know.
Oh, they do have like their own little showcases where they'll have like a game where a couple of pros, a couple of content creators will all get into a lobby and all play out and show off the gameplay a bit. Which it's very interesting because this is the 2-year COD, right? We haven't had this is 2 years of the same COD, and for us in like the competitive scene, that's going to be so good. I think it's going to be so good. I'd imagine there's people that think it's going to be a bit dead, but like it gives players such a long time to get used to a game, and we're going to see so many different, I think, iterations of teams, and the competition's going to be so good because there's going to be so many people used to it. I'm pretty excited. It didn't really show much, like I said. It looks like CODs. It looks like Modern Warfare. But it's cool to get a little bit of what it looks like, That's practically it for me. Cuphead, I suppose I'm kind of interested in. The series was pretty good. The game's good. It just looks like more Cupheads, which there's nothing wrong with that. You know what I mean?
No, that's what
nothing wrong with that at all. But there is a big thing that I haven't actually said, and something that really, really annoyed me about the show. There was no Silk Song news. God, just give it to me.
When I was watching it and I saw the Nintendo thing, I was a bit like, ooh.
No, I don't even get excited anymore. I'm just fed up. I'm done with it. Like, do you know what I mean?
Dale's just like in like the part of him that wants Silk Song is just slumped in the corner crying.
Having a full on,
the tears are silent now, whereas like the last couple of years they were like big.
No, he's gone into proper kids at a wacky warehouse kind of meltdown in the corner where they're in the ball pit and they're not moving. That's the kind of meltdown it's having right now. It's not happy. It's not happy. I mean, we've probably got like 2 versions of the same Last of Us game in the amount of time that we've been waiting for Silk Song. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's so annoying. Come on, Team Cherry, I love you, please. But that's it. Nothing. This show wasn't really for me, which is fine. You know what I mean? People get to scream about weird games that literally them and their friend have played, and I'm fine with that.
That's every one of these will have an audience, even the ones that all 3 of us were just like staring blankly at, like going, "Can it be over yet?"
Yeah.
So me the entire show then. Just if you release that actual recording of us, I'm literally sat there the entire time just going.
Yeah, I think you could just put your face on like a thing for 5 minutes, just like this is the Summer Game Fest reenactments with no sound, and then silence.
And then literally like every 25 minutes, because it was so long, I'd go, oh, and then just straight back into So yeah, it wasn't really for me, but you can't expect everything.
Hopefully,
to
the
you know what I mean?
Xbox, when we're talking about the Xbox Bethesda and but hopefully there'll be a lot more there.
Fingers crossed,
Like I say, the PlayStation one seemed better than the Game Fest one, and then if that's an indication, then hopefully Microsoft. I think they've been holding cards close to the chest for a while. It feels like.
Yeah,
and what the next acquisition is.
I think this is the problem with the post like E3 world though. Is you're just going to have
everything. You're going to have these mediocre shows.
Yeah. But I think because the state of play I think was pretty decent. Like I don't even own a PlayStation, so I was like, do you know, there's a couple of games in there that I definitely.
It was all right. Yeah.
And I feel like it's going to be the same with the Xbox one now.
Yeah. Yeah. I suppose you don't have all that excitement in one block of 3 or 4 days. You know what I mean? You don't have that, oh my, did you see this? Oh my lord, did you see this? And then it's like a lot of games got buried, but now we've got a lot more attention on those games that get buried, and we see why those games actually get buried. Do you know? Does that make sense?
Yeah. Plus, if that was like a big in-person event, everyone kind of flocked to as well, wasn't it? Whereas that in itself creates hype and interest. Whereas just like, this is just another live stream thing.
Yeah. No.
Even if Americans could watch it in IMAX.
I wonder if it was an Odeon cinema in IMAX.
Probably not.
I
think it was literally in the US.
America. It was like in 4 states in the US, I think.
Right. And I think to wrap it up, we'll pass it over to Phil.
I don't know, really. What was I interested in? So I think like I say, the initially, like it was the PlayStation showcase that like immediately, not showcase, state of play, that kind of immediately got, because that was like the start of we got loads of Resi content. So we got Resident Evil 4 remake, which is coming. Resident Evil Village is doing a VR version, which will be cool. And I think the Resi 4 is going into PSVR 2 as well. That'll be interesting to play. Although they didn't announce DLC for Resident Evil Village, which they've said was coming, but I'm surprised they announced the remake of 4 before they announced the DLC for the latest game. So, but you never know. And then the only other Resi related stuff was we also got a full trailer for the new show that's coming on Netflix on the 14th of July, which actually looks really, really good. Which, given, if anyone's ever heard me talk about the films, you will know how big a statement that is. If anyone's ever heard me rant about the Paul W.S. Anderson films and just how terrible they are. But in terms of this, everything happened at the end. It was just all at the end, like, basically for me, because all the Last of Us stuff, which closed out the show. So, yeah, the big thing I think that we've seen something concrete of when people are talking about most is the remake, which I am interested in, especially because we've got a date for it. And the fact that it's like, the way they've done it is, it looks like, because they've done it right, they've built the graphics from the ground up in the engine, but they've used the existing voice performances and motion capture performances and kind of grafted them things together. And then, so that it's like, if anyone was played the old game and worried that it was going to like make all sorts of changes when they remade it or something like that, that's obviously not going to happen. It's telling exactly the same story, but then they've got the gameplay from 2, which is a lot more dynamic, a lot more fast-paced, or presumably they will have anyway. We obviously need to see it. So that's quite exciting, and that will also be again, PC players get to play that. So if they, because they'll have never played it before, because even the remaster never came to PC. So again, more people playing things can't be a bad thing.
No, it's cool.
As you ask.
Yeah, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, look, just to clarify, I'm not the guy who sawed his PS4 in half because Spider-Man went to PC. I don't know if you saw that video, but I'm not that guy.
But Phil, what do you mean? More people playing means more people to tell me that the game that I'm playing sucks.
People do that anyway. It doesn't matter what game you like. They'll be you say something on and someone on Twitter will just go be like, "That's bad."
No, do not like your thing. How dare you?
Wait a minute, is this positivity on my timeline?
you can't like a thing because I don't like the thing. It's like, fuck. But I'm actually more interested in the multiplayer that they're bringing out, because that's the thing that we've known it's happening for a while, but so the original Last of Us had a multiplayer in it, which is one of those things. PS3 era multiplayers are a weird thing because they're very obscure. Most people won't know about them. Anyone talk about multiplayer stuff, they talk about COD, Apex, all the usual stuff. But they have a fan base, and that fan base is dedicated. Like Factions is no different. There is a dedicated fan base to that multiplayer. It's just 4v4 death matches in Last of Us, basically. But that's been getting played for 9 years now. Solidly, and it's still busy today. You go on it and try and find a match, you'll find a match like that. So everyone's been waiting for the remake for the second game's multiplayer.
What's the actual odds this is going to be a battle royale?
Well, that was this. I'm going off leaks here, so this is take everything with a pinch of salt. This is all with leaks, but the original plan was it was going to be a battle royale, and then they said like they kind of
Need to improve the aiming.
built it up a lot better.
Please tell me they improved the aiming, because this is my one worry, is because I've seen you play factions and I've played The Last of Us 1, and I know it's got a dedicated player base. I know this. But
it's an old game with an old aiming system, and it shows. You can feel it. Like, I'm not the best aimer in the world anyway, but you can feel it.
Yeah, I think if you introduced factions like that to a wider audience, I don't think it'd be well received. Personally.
No, I mean, like I say, I think if it plays like 2, it's the aiming, like the amount of stuff you can do with the aiming on 2 in terms of this level of sensitivity, they're completely customizable. And if you even want, like, say, there's people who'll swear by like gyro aiming and just like aim by taking the controller and moving it and stuff, which apparently is super accurate.
They're heathens.
But the point is, it's a lot more versatile than the aiming in 1, which is very much.
Yeah, the aiming in 1 was. I wonder how that translates over to mouse though, because that might be a difficult thing. But
we don't know if the multiplayer's coming to PC yet, so that's the other thing.
If they want it to be successful, I think it kind of has to.
I mean,
to be fair, if they're making a multiplayer game, having it linked to just PlayStation's not going to do well.
Yeah, no, I think. I mean, it's weird because PlayStation want to do more live service stuff in general, don't they? But what their model is in terms of how they're going to market it and how they're going to deal with exclusivity, I don't know. We'll have to see. But obviously, that's one of the. I think I remember seeing something saying that there's like 3 live service games that they want to release by the end of this year, and presumably one of them will be Factions 2 or whatever it ends up being called. But in the show, they said it's going to have a story to it, so it looks like it's going to be something kind of like the ambition of it has obviously got bigger and bigger to the point where they couldn't package it with the game back in 2020. Kept developing it. It evolved from Battle Royale to something else. So, I mean, my personal hope is that it's got like a horde mode where you can just face off hordes of the infected.
That'd be cool.
You can do. The other thing that I've heard it's supposed to be like is that game. What's it called? The Day Before, which was supposed to be releasing this month, but is now releasing in early 2023. Which is another. It's basically an MMO zombie, post-apocalyptic game. Which it looks interesting, to be fair, but I don't know anything about the developers or what they've done previously. But they've delayed it because they moved it entirely to Unreal 5. So that's
it's not on Unity anymore.
The shifting engines.
I don't know. Them making a multiplayer shooter kind of worries me because I don't think Naughty Dog have released a good multiplayer game, really, have they? So it is kind of worrying. I'm interested, but very reserved on it.
Yeah, it'll remain to be seen because, all the multiplayers they've done have been attached to the games which are known for being single player. So, like all the Uncharted are the multiplayer, which again I think still get played by the sort of the people who've still got the PS3 online and still play that. Whatever those people play Uncharted 1 online. I don't know. Well, yeah, it's got its fans, so I guess we'll have to wait and see. And also the TV show.
Yeah, TV show. Fair play. I'm pretty excited for that. I hope it's paced well because the Last of Us game's pacing's a bit. But I'd imagine they fixed that in the movie TV series.
Any pacing problems at the start are definitely tutorial gameplay pacing problems rather
Yeah,
than
maybe.
story pacing
I-
problems. So.
I'm almost. When was the release date of this?
Well, the last thing we heard was that it wouldn't be released this year; it'd be released 2023, and then when
They said no. They said they would announce more in 2023. They didn't even say it'd be announced.
Is it really a remake or is it just a remaster? If it's the same shot for shot, because that's a remaster, right? It's the same game. A remake would be it made differently with the same concepts and the same story.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's probably some like really nerdy technical definition of this that someone's got somewhere. But my kind of thing is if they've got the graphics that already exist, they've kind of polished them up.
That's a remaster.
Whereas if they've built it all fresh from the ground up, I mean,
a reimagining is actually like that's what Call of Duty Modern Warfare is. Whereas this is
I think same with Resident Evil.
They're building it from a new engine.
Capcom called the Resident Evil ones reimaginings as well.
Oh, okay. I'm getting reimaginings and remakes.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, I don't think there's like there's like a industry standard definition of any of this.
But
this is the problem.
If Skyrim gets his shit for getting remastered and re-released all the time, The Last of Us should as well, because this is the third time that you're going to be paying for the same game for a full price tag. You know, so it is a bit.
But Bethesda just take it on the chin and they play it to it, man. They love it. Whereas I can't imagine like Neil Druckmann being like, "Oh yes,
no, this is completely worth it."
It's my game.
they do all get very defensive about their games, which I suppose is thing, but.
That's what we were talking about with the indie stuff, wasn't it? Is if you create something, it's your baby, and then people are mean to it, then you're gonna go, no, how dare you?
Yeah,
I guess.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm sure most of the people who made the games that were on tonight's show that we've just been slagging off as boring would be sitting there being like, "Excuse you."
I'm not. I don't
make interesting games then.
Yeah, no, make interesting trailers. I think is the.
Yeah, that's definitely true.
But then you get letdowns. At least this way, they're actually showing you that their game's boring and you don't really want to play it.
But I don't know. It was like that RTS game. I forgot the name of it, but when it was just like,
I'll see you in hell with a storm or something.
It was just like, there's a storm coming. We got to get out of here, and it's bringing hell with it. Go away. But then it was like showing this like I know like Warcraft do it, but it was like this really like cinematic thing, and I was like, oh, this could be like an FPS or and then it was like it's an RTS, and it's like you haven't shown that to like I don't know.
Yeah. No, I get you. Yeah, that the other one that I kind of had interest on was that Witch something, which I can't remember. It was a shooter, and I was kind of debating whether it was rhythm based. It wasn't a very flattering trailer, but it looks like it might have been a bit fun to play.
Yeah, another one. Witchfire? It's Witchfire.
That's the one,
yeah. But there was building elements in it and stuff as well. It was just like a bit all over the place.
Oh no, it wasn't. That was Nightingale. The building elements in it. They look very similar.
They're blending together.
Yeah.
Now Witchfire was like very like much almost like boomer shootery.
Boom-esque kind of. Yeah. It looked cool. I don't think the trailer was flattering for the gameplay trailer was flattering. I think you said that, didn't you, Lloyd? It didn't look.
It looked like it had something about it. Like it looked beautiful, but other than that, it just flattered to deceive sort of thing. So.
I get what you mean. It looked fun, but they could have done something else to show it off a bit better. Yeah. I think that's the moral of this entire thing. Do you know what I mean? But at least finally we can stop hearing Phil speculate that there's going to be a Last of Us remake and it's there.
But I don't want to speculate on any remakes anymore. They're both happening.
I don't understand like why people are getting so wound up over a 10-year-old remake.
Over a what?
Like a remake of a 10-year-old game. Like everyone's like, "Oh my god, like we need this now," and it's like, yeah, but like when you want like more story,
Yeah, when
surely
you
you would want more of it.
Yeah, when you
like,
want number 3, like
I just
Well, part 3. Yeah, I want part 3. I mean, obviously, the people whose like whole life mission is to hate on Last of Us 2 forever don't want a part 3 because it's all been ruined. They're like tearing at their clothes and walking through the streets in ashes and sackcloth and all this sort of stuff, wailing. But personally, I want a part 3, but I imagine it'll take a lot longer to make than.
inspiring shots. Let's get ready to rumble.
Yeah. I imagine that'll take a lot longer to make than that remake did because they got to script it out fresh. They've got to have the motion capture voice actors, all the stuff. They've got to make all the the whole thing's got to be done. Whereas the remakes, half of it's done for them, isn't it? Because the levels are already designed. They've just got to.
It's just like releasing a remaster, isn't it? Really.
Well, yeah. Positive in terms of what's his face won't be in it. What's his name? I've got his name now. The one who talked a lot today came on twice.
Troy Baker. Oh my lord! Even everyone on Twitter was just like, "Just get him off stage." Like, no one likes him. Just get him off stage. And he's just, he just felt. Yeah, I'm not going to go into it because he'll find the podcast and be like, "Oh, did you see what they said?" Yeah, it's not even worth it.
He's searching his own name again.
Dale
off his leash.
He is. Oh my lord!
I will. I'll put that in the description of the video. Dale attacks Troy Baker.
Oh please! And then they brought him back out. Why?
To talk about himself for 5 hours.
God,
he was like, "Oh, I've got to tell you a story," and I'm like, "No one cares, mate."
Having Neil Druckmann was bad enough.
Oh, you want too bad?
Nah, he was okay.
He was alright. He was alright. Leave Neil alone.
I don't know, but Troy said a story. He started a story. I zoned out for about 10 minutes, and he was still talking about the story. Yeah. And it's just like, this is why it's so long. Is because you've allowed him on stage.
Sorry, just when Lloyd
I'm going in. Screw it.
When
Lloyd
my
lord!
When Lloyd said leave Neil alone, I just had like that leave Brittany alone.
Just he didn't get it. It didn't need to be that long with him. Like no one cares. You voiced like some good characters. Just stop.
To kind of. I don't know whether this is like an interesting or a thing to round it off, but this is probably the problem with both the Summer Game Fest and probably the Game Awards as well. Is what the kind of build the expectations of people to see is we're going to show you loads of cool games that are coming out that you're waiting for, that you're anticipating. Boom, 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 game. And what you get is
Neil Druckmann.
This sort of like you get a trailer, and then you get this little. Which I mean, if you like, when individual companies launch the game, they'll obviously want to put their devs front and center. They want to talk about it more. They'll do things. Capcom do it with the showcase, but they kind of have some restraint and like they edit it. Whereas I think this is probably how he gets the exclusives is by giving them the airtime.
I think the biggest problem with this is there's no crowd. Like, we got this very much at E3, but it wasn't obviously, there was a lot more confined. We didn't get as much, like, speaking, but the crowd drove that excitement as well.
Yeah.
And
I think as well, going back to Phil's point of, like, how they utilize the devs. Like, you see it with, I'm not sure his name, but the one with Smash Bros. The one that did all the, I'm not sure if he's like the director or something. Instead of making it about, oh, this is my story, this is how I think, he's just, hey, I'm introducing the game, you know you like this. And his personality's about him with the game, rather than it being like, oh, let me tell you this story to zone you out for 10 minutes, because I'm irrelevant and no one actually cares about me. That kind of thing. Do you know what I mean?
They're trying to make it like movies where directors and stars are like
and
celebrities, whereas people aren't there for like, you know, you don't play a game for a specific actor or a specific. I mean, you might play a game because it's made by a specific company, but it's
You're
the
not
game
really
that
like-
you
I
want.
think there seems to be a lack of almost passion from the devs at the moment. Like in that anyway, they definitely seem to be a lacking of like excitement in a way.
It's
And it felt,
awkward. She just stood there
yeah,
with
it
Jeff in
felt-
a room as he's going.
but like I said, those things happened at E3. Like you had
three on stage.
you
I
had
get
that.
what
And
you're saying.
I think that's why the crowd is a massive part that's missing in that, because like they come on. I remember like Todd Howard. Like Todd Howard is like he's not
He's the guy. He's the guy.
He's a guy, but like when you listen to him speak, if he didn't have a crowd there, you wouldn't be like, oh my god, this guy. He's like the most
Yeah.
exciting person to be around.
No, I get
But
you.
like, and it's just like everyone's like cheering him on. Then you get excited. Like I remember just being sat at home and like I would just be like, oh yo, the crowd's sick. Like let's get into it.
Yeah.
And that it
cringy
kind of,
as well. Like really cringy. It's all like E3 was really cringy but really hype. This
Yeah,
is just cringy.
yeah. So I don't know.
You know?
I think there's a lot that needs to be kind of figured out.
Yeah.
Obviously, COVID hasn't helped. I think, but like, yeah, I think. I don't know. Yeah, it's
there's
kind of
only-
like he is trying to replace E3, and it's just not.
Yeah, there's only one guy that can kind of do it without the crowd and be amazing, and that's Phil. Do you know what I mean? Phil's just Phil. Like Phil's awesome. Let's be fair.
I know you're not talking about me, but yeah.
Nah, I get what you mean. It's just, and I think it's very disappointing that, in my opinion, it was a shit showing from games. Like it was, there wasn't really much of interest there. There wasn't really much that you're gonna literally be sat around being like, oh my lord, I cannot wait for this to come out. You're just gonna be like, oh, that's out. Oh, cool. I might buy it. You know what I mean? It's, I don't know. It was like What?
There was a couple of things that I'm excited for.
Yeah, no, I guess that's
Yeah.
that's my
Yeah.
perspective. Yeah,
I think I know what Dale means. It's more like stuff that you'd go ooh and click on it if there's a trailer on YouTube, rather than you wait for a specific event and like you're up and you want like you're an hour and a half of your time's dedicated to watching it. It's not that kind of game. The kind of games you want, and then well, do what PlayStation did: start off with Resident Evil 4, end with
Yeah,
Final Fantasy 16.
knock it
stuff
out
at
of the
people.
park. Do you know what I mean? You, because they build this up to be like you're going to see some of the biggest things ever, and you see like.
I think that's like the part. That's like kind of on you.
No, that's on them,
because they're not going to be. They're not going to be like, oh yeah, it's going to be a really lackluster year.
No, they're going to be like, oh, we got some interesting games for you. Not this. We're going to announce some incredible stuff. It's
He
just like,
did say, like, was it yesterday or the day before? Manage your expectations.
Patience, yeah, he did.
oh, did he? Oh,
Yeah.
in all fairness, then
Yeah, so
okay,
it's not going to be lots that's not already announced. I think he was said, and there
Yeah, he
wasn't.
said-
There were like what, maybe 2-3 things that were unannounced before.
What's the point in having the showcase? What? Like, what? What's the point if there's not much to announce? It's meant to be replacing E3 because let's face it, that's what it's trying to do. No matter how much they say it's not, that's what it's trying to do. Why not have these announcements?
Wait, what?
I
No, yeah. So E3 had like games that were already announced before on them.
Yeah, but it also had these big, massive announcements that were saved for E3.
Yeah, but again, that's the other part of the problem is like it's all spread out now. Whereas now it was just E3. Now you've got Xbox. Now you've got PlayStation. Now you've got Nintendo.
everyone's
you've
doing
got
their own.
Capcom.
Look, right?
Yeah.
Look, Silksong hasn't been announced, and I'm just portraying my frustrations on everything else, okay? Nah, it was lackluster, and I suppose him beforehand saying manage your expectations kind of nullifies that a little, but it was lackluster.
I think
There wasn't
from now,
much of interest in
from
it.
now on, it's not about getting excited for one individual event. It's about getting excited for June because throughout June, like look what we got. We got Devolver again tonight.
No,
They
I
have the
guess
devs again tonight. Xbox
I
twice.
think, yeah. I mean, I think Lloyd's right, but I also think I'm glad this was at 7 p.m. and not 11 p.m.
Yeah.
I think I'm more annoyed that it was 2 hours for nothing, like practically nothing.
You could have
You
had
know what
that
I
whole
mean?
show in half an hour.
You could have had that show in about 25 to 30 minutes, but you let Troy Baker talk about shit stories that no one actually cares about. You know what I mean? I think that's what annoyed me about this presentation more than anything. That it's about the games. It is about the games, you know, and it just like I think it was like 35, 40 minutes into it, and we'd literally have seen 4 games, and it's just like, this is, come on. Like, I'd prefer watch a Ubisoft gameplay reveal thing like they did at E3. You know what I mean? Where it was like 40 minutes of people dancing and playing instruments and 2 games. You know? At least that was interesting. I think that's my point about this, that it really yeah. I got a bit emotionally involved in that. It's the Silk Song stuff, I promise.
It's okay, Dale. Have a hug.
Thank you. Yeah, I think that kind of, anyone else got any points to touch on there, or no? I mean, I'm glad for the people that got stuff that was interesting. I know, Lloyd, you got a load of things that you're looking forward to
and I've
now.
got Day of the Devs to watch as well now. So.
Yeah, I've seen on Twitter there's a couple of things that are taking things by storm, like everyone by storm. So it sounds like that was more interesting.
I think because it's aimed at an audience. Again.
Yeah, maybe. I guess because that you have a lot of people coming in wanting different things, and I guess you can't please everyone. Which goes by the thing of, for me, I'm disappointed and annoyed, whereas you two are kind of like, oh yeah, it wasn't too bad.
To be honest, like again, like when is it? Monday now, isn't it? The Xbox. You're probably you could be streaming.
Probably have some really good things.
And I think it is a shift in the culture of where we're waiting for one weekend every year. The E3, we knew when it was. It was June. It was smashed out the park. Like, let's be honest, there was never really a bad E3. Like, before it started to phase out, and then and now it's like we're kind of spread out throughout the month, and everyone's just a bit like, oh well, that's crap. It's the end of gaming, and it's like, it's not.
Let's be fair.
It's not. It's just that you're waiting for, because I think this has been hyped up as the replacement of E3, and it's just not.
Yeah, it's like I was saying. No. It's hyped up, and they're trying to make it the thing of E3, and
yeah, I've got 2 release dates and couple of other things that I'm quite excited for, so I'm alright.
I mean,
yeah, I don't know. I just think we need to stop listening to I can't remember the last time you actually said E3, to be honest. But it's just like when it first came out, I think the whole idea was the whole thing was gonna encompass E3, and it's just turned into what it is now, and people are kind of still expecting E3.
I suppose so. Yeah, I guess that's kind of on, like you said, manage your expectations.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. I'm like I said, I very much agree. I don't disagree on this. I just think I'm annoyed that. I think I'm mostly annoyed that it genuinely could have been just 25 minutes. You know what I mean? It could have just been 25 minutes, and instead you let Troy Baker on stage for ages. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, Nintendo do it. Nintendo smash it every indie showcase.
This is what I said when they played the Nintendo thing. They showed 4 or 5 games. They showed more games in that 15, 20 second little segment than was shown in the 40 odd minutes before that was. And it's just
and they still had dev interviews. Yeah, and they were entertaining.
Yeah, it's just poorly done. Is the main thing. It's poorly done. You know?
Yeah.
But yeah. But I think that's a good place to kind of wrap up. Otherwise we'll be arguing with each other.
I've got 2 more showcases to watch tonight as well, so I'm a bit like
I've got to go bed. I'm my eyes are drooping, and I haven't eaten dinner yet since almost 10 hours ago, so I need food. But yeah, any more points before we round out? Because I think we got a lot off our chest there.
No, nothing else from me.
I think we're very much in agreement on it, though, right? It's just.
I think it's a mixture of things.
Yeah,
I think there's a lot of things that have gone into this, and I think it's a massive shift in culture that we haven't quite got over yet, and it's a bit weird. But I'm sure in a couple more years.
Just give me Silksong.
And hopefully there is some great games this year.
Yeah, Silksong.
Never know. Xbox.
At this point, right, it's the only thing that could even try taking Game of the Year.
But do you know what? Xbox have probably bought Team Cherry or something.
That's why it's so delayed, because they waited to announce it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. It's been a good little show. I didn't think we'd actually get that much kind of out of it. We all come into it a bit deflated after the the thing. So that was good. That's it for this week's episodes. Don't forget, you can find every single episode of the podcast on your favorite podcasting service, or on YouTube, on the YouTube channel if you want to see our beautiful faces. Mostly Lloyd and Phil, because they're lads. Do you know what I mean? They're the lads. But on YouTube is where you can find additional content like reviews, previews, commentary, and quite a lot more. We have a lot of good stuff over there. Check the links in the description for all of this to find us on social media and to join our Discord server, where we have a gift war section where we just post gifts. We are everywhere, and you should join us. Thank you very much for listening, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Have a beautiful time.
Remember to manage your expectations.